Bonjour, bienvenue. My name is Alexandra. I have been a proud member of the Viking family for the past 5 years. I work in the Viking brand and communication department. Over the years, I have been fortunate to travel all over France and sample many regional delicacies. I also really enjoy cooking dinners for my friends and family. So it is my privilege to take you on this virtual culinary journey through France. Later, my colleague Joost in Basel will be joining us for some questions and answers about French food on all our itineraries in France. Allons-y.
Viking is proud to offer several river itineraries that call on some of the most iconic French cities, where you will be able to have countless opportunities to sample regional food and wine. The first of the three river itineraries is Paris and the heart of Normandy. This is an 8-day round-trip Paris voyage. Let's explore this itinerary. Bienvenue, welcome to my hometown of Paris. In a country where people watching is a national sport, you want the coffee to be just as good. Here in Paris, the French capital, you won't be disappointed. Sitting and sipping in a Parisian café is one of the many simple pleasures in this glorious city. Get there on our Paris and the heart of Normandy itinerary. Did you know French cuisine is internationally recognized? Since 2021, it has been on the UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage. Some must-tries in Paris are macarons from a patisserie or try chocolate delights from a local chocolatier. And don't forget soupe à l'oignon or French onion soup. Even though it originated as a humble peasant dish, French onion soup is now regarded as one of the most prized dishes of French cuisine. The broth is simple, made from caramelized onions and meat stock. The soup is distinguished by croûte pièces of crispy baked bread. They are placed on top of the soup and are then generously covered with cheese. The soup is finished in the oven, allowing the cheese to melt while the top turns into a golden crust. There is a specific order to the courses, as you can see here. Taking the time to create a multi-course meal, you can try this at home. First, start with a little bit of something to tease your palate, an amuse-bouche. Then entrée means enter in French. So the entrée is your first course, entering a meal. The plat is then your main course, ending with cheese, then dessert. And finally, a digestif. All of this served with wine, of course. And during your digestif, which is an after-dinner drink, it is customary to have a little sweet to conclude your meal. Café and food lovers will not want to miss this optional tour, Flavors of Paris. You will enjoy a guided walking tour through historical quarters and sample sweet and savory treats. Sailing on, you will also call on the town of Rouen. We offer a unique culinary shore excursion here. You can experience the daily life of working Norman farm. Normandy is famous for its cheeses and apple orchard that produce delicious cider and Calvados, the region's beloved apple brandy. During your visit, you will sample Calvados and its cuisine pommeau, with homemade apple tart and Norman cheeses. From Paris, you can take the TGV, the fast train, to our next itinerary. This 8-day Lyon and Provence, you will travel from Avignon to Lyon in the south of France. Before we take a look at some of the ports of call on this itinerary, here is a short video.
Join Viking on a magical 8-day sailing between France's idyllic Provence and Lyon. Your voyage begins in charming Avignon on the Rhône River, where you'll explore the historic Palace of the Popes. Next, it's Roman ruins amid the quaint atmosphere of Arles, site of some of Vincent van Gogh's most famous works. Medieval Viviers is your next stop, followed by scenic sailing with views of rugged Défilé de Danzère. In Tournon, enjoy an old-fashioned train ride through the picturesque gorges of the Ardèche. While in beautiful Vienne, an overnight stay provides time to see sights, including an impressive array of Roman antiquities. Then it's on to Lyon, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and gastronomic capital. Next, it's wine tasting amid fabled vineyards in the heart of the Beaujolais wine region. Before concluding your sojourn through the French countryside with a return to historic Lyon.
Welcome to Arles, in Les Bouches-du-Rhône, near the Camargue Delta. This area is known for producing high-quality olive oil. If you have the chance, I recommend a visit to the Café Van Gogh on the Place du Forum in Arles. Here you can channel your inner artist. Van Gogh famously painted this quintessential French café in 1888, during his stay in Arles. Next up, we are in the culinary capital of France. Some might even argue of the world. Welcome to Lyon. This city has the highest concentration of world-renowned chefs and Michelin star restaurants in the world. The famous French chef Paul Bocuse has a restaurant here, l'Auberge du Pont de Collonges, known simply as Paul Bocuse, held the world record for holding a Michelin star rating since 1965. You won't want to miss a Bouchon Lyonnais. A Bouchon is a unique restaurant that can only be found in Lyon. They offer a very distinct cuisine, atmosphere and decor. Think checkered tablecloths. Typical dishes include salade lyonnaise, quenelle, which are little dumplings, and meat such as sausage and duck and pork. The region around Vienne produces excellent variety of goat cheeses and butter. Cheesecake in French is gâteau au fromage. The French enjoy spiking their cheesecakes with Cointreau, a premium French triple sec, and orange peel shown here. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about the unique culinary shore excursions available from Tournon. This is the Rhône Valley Vineyard hike. You can explore the vineyards around the small town of Tain-l'Hermitage. You will learn about the world-famous Hermitage wine. This is the birthplace of Syrah, one of the most popular grape variety in the world. You will also call on Avignon, where you can sample a local specialty called fougasse. It is a distinctive Provençal flatbread. Fresh herbs such as rosemary are usually baked into the bread. It also pairs well with olive tapenade. Here is a special wine tasting excursion available in Avignon. You will visit the summer residence of the Avignon Pope, Châteauneuf-du-Pape. The surrounding town is one of the world's most celebrated wine-producing regions. Your excursion includes a wine tasting at a local vineyard. You will also learn about the delicate blending process behind the wine. Provence is the perfect spot to learn how to prepare French specialties. Our Flavors of Provence culinary tour includes a visit to Avignon's most colorful market. Then, with your Provençal chef, help make a seasonal entree. You will enjoy it along with homemade éclairs, local wine, and coffee from one of the last French roasters in Avignon. From Provence, proceed to the west coast of France in our Chateau, Rivers and Wine itinerary. On this 8-day sailing, you will discover the stunning architecture, bountiful vineyards, and fascinating history of southwestern France.
Join us on a delightful journey through southwestern France for 8 relaxing days round trip from Bordeaux. Bordeaux is a graceful port filled with remarkable architecture and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. On this voyage, you'll experience the unique ambiance of the region, its culture and tasty cuisine. And of course, a delicious exploration of lands that have produced France's most legendary wines. You'll sail along the Gironde River to Pauillac for a wine country tour of the Médoc region, home to some of the world's most beautiful chateaux and renowned wines. There are plenty of tasting opportunities along the way, including the area's famous Margaux. At Blaye, the beautiful 17th century citadel dominates the landscape and offers impressive views of the river. You'll visit Saint-Emilion, a lovely hillside town that dates back to prehistoric times and is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. From Cadillac, it's off to the Sauterne region to learn how the area's distinctively flavoured sweet wines are made. Then it's back to charming Bordeaux to soak in the history and beauty of this magical city.
With your visit in Bordeaux, you are entering France's most prominent wine region. It hosts some of the world's most renowned estates. The historical part of Bordeaux is listed on the UNESCO World Heritage as an outstanding urban and architectural ensemble of the 18th century. A popular local dish is entrecôte marchand de vin. It is also called entrecôte à la bordelaise. Entrecôte is a French word for a steak, very similar to a boneless ribeye, served with a rich wine gravy. Let's take a moment to learn more about the wine regions of Bordeaux.
Bordeaux has long been home to iconic names like Médoc, Pomerol, Saint-Emilion, Pauillac, Margaux, Sauterne and Cognac, all of them located within a short distance of each other. Thanks to unique natural elements including rivers, elevation changes and a wide range of soils, winemaking has thrived here, resulting in remarkable red wines, white wines, sweet wines, and other aperitifs and digestives. Bordeaux is usually thought of in terms of left bank and right bank, referring to their location along the Gironde River. The left bank is home to the Médoc region, which at one time was swampy marshland. This is red wine country, where tasty Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot grapes enhance wines from Pauillac, Saint-Julien and Margaux. The vineyards are influenced by the warm waters of the Gironde estuary, southeasterly exposure and soil that is a mix of soft clay and gravel. It's a rare combination that has delivered Bordeaux's most desired wines. Still on the left bank, but to the south, is the Grave region. Its red wines were sought after long before Médoc existed, and it's said that US President Thomas Jefferson had a special fondness for wine from one of the chateaux here. The Grave region is also home to wonderful white wines, and the much-loved Sauterne and Barsac wines. These intensely sweet white wines are the end result of a phenomenon known as noble rot. It impacts the grapes frequently here, dehydrating them inside the skin, which increases the concentration of sugars. The three main grapes of this area are Sémillon, Sauvignon Blanc, and Muscatel. Between the Garonne and Dordogne rivers is Entre deux mers, which means between two seas. This productive area is the source for the majority of Bordeaux's mainstream red wines. The right bank has its own treasures, like the Libournais region also bordering the Dordogne River. It was first cultivated by the Romans and is home to the highly regarded Pomerol wines. The grapes here are a mix of Merlot and Cabernet Franc, and the soil is influenced by varying degrees of gravel and sand. Just next door is Saint-Emilion, named for the quaint village the vineyards surround. The other notable region includes Bourg and Blaye, situated where the Garonne and Dordogne rivers meet. It's one of the oldest wine-producing areas of Bordeaux. Merlot is the principal grape here, followed by Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc and Malbec. Sauvignon Blanc grapes are also grown here for use in delightful sparkling wines. While another white grape, Ugni Blanc, is transformed into Cognac. Bordeaux is a diverse, beautiful region that I find fascinating. A mix of intriguing historical treasures and insights into the art of wine and joie de vivre. Whether you're a wine connoisseur or delving into the topic for the first time, Bordeaux is a destination well worth exploring.
Cadillac is home to one of France's finest dessert wine varietal. The sweet and aromatic wines of this region are usually a blend of Sémillon, Sauvignon Blanc, and Muscadelle grapes. Your guide will share the secrets of Sauterne wine. Here is a sneak peek.
Say Bordeaux, and most people think of its renowned red wines. But there's another wine here that's produced in an entirely different way, the wines of Sauterne. What is it in the process of making Sauterne wine that makes it sweet?
It's a mold called botrytis. This mold is able to attack the normal healthy fruit, and it's only on the skins, and it's never inside the berry itself. With that transformation, then the skin is permeable, and with the good sunshine on the afternoon, then the water is evaporating from the pulp, and it concentrates, and it makes it so sweet inside that the mold cannot grow anymore because it's too sweet, too much osmotic pressure, and it's like on honey, nothing can grow, the same idea.
So is the mold attacks naturally, or you make it happen?
And that's the reason why Sauterne is a good region for sweet wine is it attacks naturally. When everything goes right, it starts mid-late September, when the berry is naturally sweet already.
So the grape has now been attacked by the mold?
Yes, and actually the berry is alive, and the berry trying to defend, to react to this invasion. And the result of this fight is a big increase. We could say it's not increase, it's an amplification of the quantity of potential aroma in the grapes. At the end of the war, the shrunk berry is 100 times richer in aroma than a regular berry of the same grape.
And by this time it looks like a rotten raisin or something,
yes,
does it?
Yes, it's good. It looks like more, I would say, a raisin with rather bluish, brownish bluish color, rather than the regular brown color of the raisin.
So should we talk a bit about the bottle? Because the bottle is always white and clear, right?
It's the way to make the difference most of the time. It's not 100%, but most of the time the Sauterne bottle is an extra white bottle. Yeah. It means it's really, transparent. Yes. It has no greenish effect. It's really completely white.
And is that to show off this beautiful golden color?
Yes, it's to show the genuine color. It's the same quality of a glass used for expensive cognacs.
Yeah,
so
okay.
The same
for
idea.
For the same reason, right?
For the same reason. Yeah. So it's to show something precious. This wine ages very well. Yeah. A good Sauterne is 50 years, no problem. And it's really a wine we do enjoy in France on special occasion with a small group of very dear friends or close member of your family, because this feeling of something precious goes with the quality and the depth of the connection, the relation you have with people.
And to call it a dessert wine, because I know you drink it also with foie gras.
Yes, a dessert wine. It comes from actually the British culture, where British people drink a lot of wine and they still want to drink for dessert. What we do in France is we have it as an aperitif, because before anything,
before the meal starts.
Because it's very convenient, because it has a very strong relaxing effect, like a glass of whiskey, but not so much alcohol. And by the way, it will calm down your appetite because you will have a lot of sugar that will go straight to your blood and send a strong message to your body that you shouldn't rush too much on crackers and aperitif stuff before the meal is really actually starting. But you really have to taste the wine. You have a very strong flavor of candied grapefruit, passion fruit, pineapple that will stay on your palate, on your tongue forever. Because this wine is not only sweet, but very concentrated, very intense in flavor. It's a lot of information, those intense flavor. You have a lot of concentration, so it kind of distracts your brain for any other information.
It seemed to entertain the whole palate when I took my sip now.
So, in order to choose a proper food, you have to choose some food that is very strong in flavor at all. Otherwise, it will disappear with this so intense wines. You can be audacious in your choice of food and wine matching with food that would destroy other wines because they are too intense. So strong seafood, spicy food,
Curries,
for example, Thai food, Sichuanese
I would
food.
never ever have
It's
thought
really
to combine
the new fashion to enjoy those wines.
Sauterne is delightful, and you really should give it a try as you explore Bordeaux's many wine secrets.
Welcome to the Saint-Émilion region, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Here you can enjoy a beautiful lunch with a wine tasting at a nearby chateau. You will sample some of local vintages from the Saint-Émilion and Pomerol appellations. Or you might take a guided walk around Libourne, passing through an open-air farmers market. Let's pause here to learn more about this celebrated farmers market.
In the heart of Libourne is Place Abel-sur-Champ.
Bonjour chef, ça va?
Today I'm exploring its market with Viking chef Magali. This local farmers market has been a fixture in Libourne since the 13th century, and it continues to delight.
This is something I used to do since I'm really young. We're going almost every day to the market.
Good food has long been a cornerstone of French culture, and at markets like these you can experience that passion firsthand.
We buy everything seasonal and local. With this kind of fruits, it's impossible not to eat.
Viking shops here too. It's part of the freshness our guests taste on board our ships. The market is home to a wonderful tapestry of colours, smells, and some of the friendliest faces I've seen. It's a true feast for all your senses that's certain to please.
Oh, that's a good carrot.
The Libourne Farmers Market offers a quintessentially French experience, keeping age-old traditions alive. We look forward to seeing you soon and sharing with you all the best of this part of France.
Libourne is in the Périgord region, the center for truffles in France. As you may know, truffles are notoriously difficult to locate. They grow in the ground near oak and hazelnut trees. You can learn about the intricate art of truffle hunting from a local farmer and his dog in our World of Truffles tour. This tour also includes lunch with your host, including sampling dishes made with fresh black truffles. Here is a short video about truffle hunting.
Hidden within these woods is a rare treasure. Nestled in the warm forest floor. Prized by many, but found by few. I'm speaking of truffles, and this is the hunter.
Cherche, Farah, cherche. Elle est où là? Cherche.
For centuries, they've scoured the woodlands for the elusive truffle, the highly fragrant subterranean fungus loved by chefs around the world. This used to be the job of pigs, but they also like to eat the truffles, so dogs have taken their place.
Est-ce que c'est difficile de dresser un chien pour chercher les truffes?
Vous allez chez un photographe, vous demandez 2 boîtes de pellicule photo.
I'm asking if it's difficult to train your dog to find truffles. He says no. Go to your photographer and see if he has old cans that stored film.
Percer les boîtes de pellicule.
Pierce the film box.
Vous mettez du coton,
Put cotton wool inside.
de l'huile truffée.
A little bit of truffle oil on the cotton.
Avec vous, vous avez un petit panier.
Put them in a little basket like this.
Vous avez des récompenses.
Have treats.
Et vous allez jeter la boîte de pellicule photo.
And every time you throw the toy away, you tell your dog to find the truffle.
Chaque fois qu'il a pris,
Every time
The
that he
what?
takes the film can, you take it from him and you give him a treat.
deuxième semaine, coton, oil, vous fermez et vous allez le mettre sous le tapis. Vous allez jouer à cache-cache.
So the second week, you're playing hide and seek. You're going to refresh those containers, those film containers, with new cotton wool, new truffle oil, and you're going to hide them in your house somewhere.
Et chaque fois qu'il trouve, vous payez. C'est bien mon bébé, t'es un bon chien, toujours avec les trucs.
Same procedure. You ask her to find the box. When she finds it, you give him a treat. Then
Vous allez dehors,
you go outside
sans le chien,
without the dogs,
en cachette, vous creusez
and you hide
et vous
these
mettez dans la terre
little
la
boxes
boîte film.
in the ground.
Et vous allez avec le chien 2 jours après. Comme ça, la terre, elle a
Okay.
pris l'odeur de truc.
It takes 2 days or so to infuse the soil around the cans with this truffle oil. So after 2 days of these being buried, you go back out.
Vous prenez le panier,
Of course, you take a little basket.
vous l'excitez,
You excite your dog a little
il
bit.
voit les
You
récompenses.
show the treats.
Vous allez à côté de ça, là où vous savez que vous avez caché la boîte
You
de
go
pellicule.
close to where you know you've hidden these little
Vous
boxes.
l'excitez. Si le chien, il marque, vous le prenez dans les bras. Beaucoup de récompenses, c'est très bien. Vous avez gagné.
If then, of course, the dog starts digging in that area, you give him lots of compliments and treats, and that's it, you've done it. From then on, he can find truffles.
I've been teaching my dog Finse to truffle hunt too, carrying on this old European tradition. It's fun whether you find a truffle or not.
I happen to love truffles. They have a nutty, earthy flavor. In Bourg and Blay, you will have the opportunity to learn about another specialty of this region, Cognac. It is a type of brandy, also called eau de vie, or water of life. It is distilled from white wines produced in any of the designated growing regions. There is a small number of distilleries producing cognac: Hennessy, Martel, Courvoisier, and Camus. Cognac lovers won't want to miss our privileged access tour. On a test of cognac, Camus, you will learn the history of cognac and sample this famous brandy. But you will also meet the master distiller of Camus and create your own blend that you can take home. Our included tour here is Médoc and Margaux wine country. You can sample some of France's best wines in the Margaux appellation. You will also be treated to a very special dinner at the elegant Château Kirwan. This is France's most prestigious wine-growing region. Grapes grown here include Cabernet Sauvignon, which is the main grape of Margaux, followed by Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, Malbec, and Carmenère. Experts agree that Margaux wines are among the most floral in all of Bordeaux. From Bordeaux, you might choose to visit Arcachon. This is a commune on the Atlantic coast. You will embark on a small vessel across the bay where you can see up close the fascinating oyster banks. You will also have the opportunity to sample oysters in their purest and freshest state. By the way, the French word for oysters is huître. Now, let's explore the onboard dining options on your Viking longship. Viking provides memorable dining experiences on board that allow you to further explore your destinations through regional food and wine. At Viking, cuisine and wine are part of your journey. Through your sailing, you will be treated to local French specialties and always available classics. We are also committed to providing fresh fare and regional cuisine. This includes locally sourced ingredients and authentic regional dishes. You will have the opportunity to participate in the signature test-of event on board. A themed French dinner will further introduce you to the regional food and drink. Our culinary experience begins with fresh herbs that lend a just-picked flavor to our dishes. Many herbs are grown on board in the herb garden located on the Seine deck. Welcome to the restaurant, the primary dining venue on board our longship. We offer a thematic dining experience to showcase the local food and drink of the region. For our France itineraries, we offer Taste of France. Staff wear traditional costumes. As you dine, you enjoy local folkloric performances and immerse yourself in local culture and traditions. Welcome to the Viking Lounge. Enjoy a drink from the bar or a hot beverage from the nearby coffee station. Our onboard beverage station is open 24 hours for coffee and tea. We will also serve regional cookies that change throughout your voyage. During high tea, enjoy tea and pastry service in the Aquavit Lounge or on the Aquavit Terrace. The Aquavit Terrace offers the most alfresco dining on Europe's rivers. Get to know new friends over breakfast and lunch as you watch Europe's picturesque riverscapes unfold before you in this relaxing, inviting space. To learn more about our approach to regional cuisine, pick up a copy of The Kitchen Table. It's available in the Onboard shop. Or you can visit our website where we have some of our favorite recipes.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Viking.TV. Joost is joining me to answer some of your questions that you may have about French cuisine or traveling with Viking in France.
Hello, Alex.
Hi, Joost. Heather, do you have any questions for us?
I certainly do. Our first question tonight comes from Robert in the United States, and he says, can you please compare the wines that you can try on the Bordeaux cruise versus the wines you can try on the Lyon cruise?
Well, the thing is, on board, we have such a wide selection that you'll find that there's a decent overlap. It's not like when you travel on the Rhone that you would not be able to get a good Bordeaux wine. As a matter of fact, you'll probably find little selections of virtually every country that we travel through on the rivers. But overall, I would say, you know, it depends on what you like. I think, and Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, the Bordeaux region is really known, you know, what we serve on board are like the big lids in Bordeaux. And we, of course, we have the Margaux and we have the Sauterne, but on the Rhone, I think you have a little bit more variety. They're somewhat lighter. I think all the wines along the Rhone, if you're there to drink the wines there, until you get to Lyon and until you start to drink the wines from Burgundy, much of it is just a little bit more. There's a little bit more sun in those wines somehow, I think.
Yes, that's correct. I mean, we try as much as possible to bring you local destination relevant wine lists. So in Bordeaux, you'll definitely have the full array of a very complete array of what we have in Bordeaux. And then on Lyon, Provence, some Provence wines. And if you are there in the summer, rosé wine is very popular and an excellent wine to drink every day.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Our next question comes from Carol Ann in Philadelphia, and she says, when is the best time of year to do the France's finest itinerary?
It depends a little bit on, so there's a complicated answer to this. If you travel in August, you're not going to have a lot of people in Paris and not a lot of people in big cities because this is when the French go on vacation. Having said that, of course, in August it gets a little warm. If I were to do it, I would probably say I would travel in either May or starting in September again. Whereas just a little, and that's also a very personal thing because I don't mind that it will rain in May in Normandy, but I do mind that if I were to travel in July in Arles, I'm just going to be sweating. So if you're, I would say if you're a warm weather person, you can do it in summer, and if you're more of a, you know, a sort of a temperate climate person, then I would do it in in what we call shoulder season, in May, even in April, and in September. But you know, there's a significant difference between the two. Normandy gets more rain, and Provence in particular. It's more of it's kind of like Southern California. So if you're from the Phoenix area and you think that's nice weather, then travel, by all means, then travel in August or in July. You'll like Southern France.
Thank you, Joost.
Mm-hmm.
Our next question, I think this is probably one for Alexandra. It comes from Jean in New York, and she says, I've never been brave enough to try those famous French delicacies, frog's legs and snails. Can you tell us, are these really commonly eaten in France, and what do they actually taste like?
Yes, it is commonly eaten, and snails are prepared with lots of garlic and butter, so it tastes like a chewy garlic and butter flavor. And frog legs taste like chicken.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Carol in Vancouver, and she says, can I buy wine in France and bring it back on board the ship?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you should. You must.
Especially, yes, when you are in the Bordeaux region.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then linked to that, Bob in the United States says, can I also get the wine shipped home?
That is more complicated.
You would have to find someone that does it for you. Yes, I mean, there are, I know that in Châteauneuf-du-Pape, for instance, the gentleman that we deal with there will ship, but it has to be, you know, you're going to be shipping a case or two.
Thank you. Lila in the United States says, do you know how many different French wine regions there are?
There is, I believe, 11 distinct French wine regions. There is the Loire Valley, Burgundy, Bordeaux, Rhône Valley, Aquitaine. There is 11. I can't quite name all those 11s, but I think there is 11.
It gets hard because you know there are the Sauterne, for instance, does that is its own region, or does it belong to Bordeaux or to Burgundy?
Or Médoc.
And Alsace.
Alsace.
Alsace has its own very distinct wines.
Thank you. And Maid in Los Angeles, she says, and I apologize for my pronunciation, where does Viognier get produced?
Viognier.
Viognier. Yeah.
Viognier.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different grape. So you have that grape in different regions. I don't know if there is only one region actually that has Viognier or several.
No, I'm trying to think of an area that is really like where that stands out, but I think that gets blended a lot.
Yes.
And I think it's you find it in a lot of places. I think that's more a lot, but don't pin me down on this. I think it's more along the Rhône than it is in Bordeaux. But
yes, Rhône Valley
is a grape that is used quite a bit in all kinds of blends.
Yes, doing some research at the same time, it seems like it's more predominant in the Rhône Valley,
mm-hmm.
and also in North and South America.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you both. Sharon in the United States says, is it possible to watch the grapes being harvested and pressed? And if so, what month would that be?
That's in fall, throughout the fall. It's the quick answer to that is, incidentally, that may be the case. We're not organizing excursions for this, and it's simply because it's completely dictated by nature. And so what sometimes happens, or what always happens, is that when it's time to harvest, it's like you pounce when it's ready, And none of the vineyards that we work with, and they're always very happy to talk to us until it's time to harvest. And then it's like we can do the tours, we can have one person that shows you around and explains about the wine. And other than that, we really don't like you here because we have different things to do now. We're harvesting wine. So it's very tricky unless you're willing to spend, you know, a week and help with the harvest. And this is something that students all over Europe do. It's kind of almost like if you're a Francophile and you spend, you know, your college years never making it to France to stomp grapes, that's not good. That doesn't look good on your resume. So
Yes.
from all over Europe, people come to France, and that's what the focus is on. And it's not on visitors. It's not on anything else. So you're kind of disturbing the people there if you're there at harvest time. But there's a really good chance that you'll see harvesting going on as you travel there in fall. And it depends on the region, and it depends on the time of, on how the season has developed. But yeah, there's a reasonable chance that you'll see some harvesting going on, or a lot of harvesting going on, September, October. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Carl in the United States says, we are looking at going on the Paris and Heart of Normandy next summer. My wife is gluten-free. Is that an issue, and will she be able to find things to eat?
No, she will be fine. She'll need to let us know through the reservation department, and we will make sure that the ship is aware when she arrives.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Chaz says, how is it possible to arrange to dine at the Paul Bocuse restaurant?
It depends on which one you want to go to. The Paul Bocuse it's a little outside of Lyon, and it's not always easy to get in, but Paul Bocuse has several bistros in Lyon, and those are not that difficult to get in, and the food is spectacular. You have the Bistrot du Nord, the Bistrot de l'Est, de l'Ouest, I think. There's 4 of them. And they're relatively easy to find, and you don't have to do that months in advance. You can simply, once you arrive, tell the program director that this is what you want to do, and it's not all that difficult to set up.
Thank you. Emily in Rosewell in the United States says, can you recommend the best bakeries to visit in Paris for macarons and patisserie?
Mm-hmm. I have a preference for macaron to really go to La Durée, Rue Royale, which is next to actually the American Embassy, and it's really the authentic place to have macaron. For patisserie in general, I really enjoy the Angelina Tea House, which is on Rue Rivoli across the Louvre.
Yeah, and when especially when it comes to croissants, it's you can walk into any bakery, because the Ile-de-France is kind of where the really good croissants come from. You know, there are actually parts of France where the croissants are like, but in Paris, that's where you have the best croissants in the world.
That's true.
Thank you. Colleen in Winter Harbour in the United States says, can you tell us a bit more about which cruise offers the truffle hunting and how she can do that?
That's Bordeaux. That's Chateau, Rivers and Wine.
Yeah.
That's one excursion that she can book,
Yes.
right?
Yes, yes. And you meet the dog, and you meet our truffle man there. Yeah. I believe you would have to check this. I'm sure that you can find it online on our when you go and dig into the excursions. We should probably also have a truffle farm that you can visit from Lyon. Yeah, I think so. I think it's a bit of a drive there, but I think we still offer that.
Perfect. Thank you.
But the guy that you saw in the video he's in the Bordeaux region.
Lovely. Ken in the United States says, we'll be taking the France's Finest cruise in June of 2023. Is the chef on these cruises generally French? And will we be sampling many of the French specialities presented on this live stream today while we're on board?
The answer to that is you will have all the French specialties, and you will have there's a reasonable chance that the chef will be French. But I have to say that it's one of those things. It's like you have really good Germans that get their training in France and spend a lot of time in France. And I don't know, you might not have caught Magali's last name. Magali Kaufling has a German last name because she's from that part of the country where a lot of French have German last names, and from Alsace. And so I always have to chuckle a little bit because we used to have this gentleman, and he's retired. He's worked for us for years, and he worked in a 2-star Michelin, or he owned a 2-star Michelin restaurant at one point, and then it got too stressful, and then he started working on our ships. And he had a German last name, and so we said, Jean-Pierre, you have to change your name because it's not French enough. And he said, what do you mean? So it's tricky. Yes, there's a good chance that the chef is French. If he's not, he will know French cuisine inside out.
He will be French trained for sure.
Yes, and you will make sure that he does his job well, Alex.
Yes, I'll go inspect.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you both. Philip in the United States says, is it possible to visit the Champagne region with Viking?
Yes. But that's a cruise, strangely, that's not in France. If you travel from Paris to Prague, what we call cities of light, you spend 2 nights in Paris, and then you travel overland to the city of Trier, which is in the extreme west of Germany. And on your way, you pass through Reims, and Reims is kind of the capital of the Champagne region.
Yeah, and Reims and Epernay is only an hour away from Paris. So if you are in Paris, even a couple days or a day before, you have ample time to go and spend a day in Champagne.
And on your way back, you can go through Meaux, and you can pick up some Brie de Meaux.
Exactly.
And have that with your champagne.
That's a good combination, Joost.
Yes.
We should have that next time we see each other.
Yes, yes.
Excellent. Thank you both. Rowan in Parkville says, can you tell me how French restaurants are adapting, if they are, to vegetarian and vegan diets? He says, I know in the past it's been quite hard to find these choices in France, so I'm interested to know if this is a changing trend.
Yeah, I would say so. This is worldwide, and I would say overall, it probably depends a little bit on what region you're in. I think in big cities, it's absolutely no problem. I think in smaller cities, if you're a little bit more in the rural part of France, it might be a little bit more difficult. But overall, this is no longer really an issue.
Fantastic. Thank you. Rupert in Georgia says, I love cooking. Do you offer any excursions that can help me to learn more French cooking techniques?
Yes, but you would really need to, depending on when you travel, especially when it comes to cooking classes, those are sometimes seasonal. It depends a little bit on what we can cook. So that offer changes a bit. But yeah, wherever that's something that is enjoyable to do and it's feasible, we do offer it. We want you to get your hands dirty as much as we can. Yeah.
And we do offer onboard cooking lesson during your sailing. it is part of our onboard curriculum. So you will have the opportunity to, with our culinary team that will host the cooking lesson, to get your hands dirty and come up, learn some tips and techniques.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is, of course, followed by a tasting.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, thank you. Questions just come in from Michael in Wilton in the United States. He says, we're taking the Lyon to Avignon River Cruise at the beginning of November 2021. What can we expect as far as the weather goes?
November, did you say?
Yes.
But in Lyon and Avignon in Provence.
Can be nice.
It would be nice and mild, not hot, and it's getting colder. The winter is approaching.
Yeah, but you're in a part of the country that can be, especially if you get further south in summer, it can be really hot. So I would do it in November. Early November is a perfect time to go to Provence, I think.
Thank you. Mary in Greensboro says, we are scheduled for the France's Finest tour in October. What are the absolute must-dos we should do on this voyage?
It's so hard to say, because every port of calls will bring you something unique, and I think the must is really to be flexible and open-minded and see every day, take every day as one day at a time, and do what you enjoy to really enjoy your voyage.
Bring good shoes, walk a lot, stay out after dark. Make the most of your time. There are a lot of things that, I don't know. I would spend all my time in Paris out. Don't spend any time on the ship. When the ship moves, you have to be on the ship, right? You should be on deck or in the Aquavit terrace, especially in the north, where we have the new ships that have these spectacular terraces. The Seine ships are custom made for that river, and it's beautiful to spend time outdoors. And then as soon as the gangplank goes down, we have a plethora of shore excursions. And those are obviously designed to make the most of your time. Mm-hmm. And then when you're done with your shore excursion, go out again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in Paris, the ship docks right by the Eiffel Tower. So it really is such a premium location. You can just walk out and start, walking around.
Yep.
Wonderful, thank you. Joyce in Loveland in the United States says, what is your favorite restaurant that we could visit on shore during this cruise?
Is it which cruise, the France's Finest?
Yeah, Joyce didn't specify. She just said this cruise, so I assume she is referring to France's Finest.
In Paris, there's so many. I would go for the street food. There's so many restaurants everywhere, and I like patisseries a lot. I think I would focus on patisseries every day.
Yeah, no, hang on, because then so I would go to one of the Bocuse. I would go to the Bistrot du Nord, which I really enjoyed. When I was in Lyon, I've done that a few times, and it's kind of my go-to place. It's just very nice and friendly. But I agree with you. I think to have what I always do when I'm on the ship is at least once every cruise, I go to a marché, and this could be Libourne. It's in Montpellier. In France, in Paris, you can go to. You'll find a fromagerie, and then you get a baguette, and you get some grapes, and you sit either on your balcony, or you go and sit on the sun deck, and you just picnic, and you bring yourself a bottle of wine, because that to me is like, in my mind, the French cuisine is all about original flavors. There's this misconception, I think, of thinking of France, it's all this very refined food, and it's all very complicated with all these sauces. And this is not how French people eat. A lot of people eat, when they eat food, they understand they have one cheese with a glass of wine and a piece of bread. And that is heaven. Do that.
Thank you both. Similarly linked to that, a question from Sydney in Morristown. He says, which are the best food markets to visit when in France? And is there any etiquette one should be aware of when buying things?
Libourne is quite famous. The Libourne market is quite famous, but there is markets all over, every village, every town. So just make sure that you don't miss it. As far as etiquette is concerned, there is none.
No, and it's. I think the one thing that you need to keep in the back of your head is that when it comes to food, people find it very, very, very important. And so the great experience is that you can ask one question and you'll get a lot of answers to questions you didn't yet ask, because people will start to tell you stories and explain to you how important all the differences are. I do this all the time. It's like, you know, and it starts really simple. It's like, qu'est-ce que c'est? And can I try this? And what is that? And that looks strange. And there's endless patience because people take their food so seriously.
The thing that you might want to make sure that you know is whatever food you buy, you need to make sure you know when you will actually eat it, because they will ask you. They will ask you before if you want to choose a cantaloupe, for example, a melon, which Joost has great experience with that.
Yes.
They will ask you if you want to eat the melon today or tomorrow. They will give you a different ripe level depending on when you want to eat it.
Yes, and the same is true with cheese, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you would have to explain, and this is kind of routine what French people do when they visit a market. It's never like, I would like some cheese. It's like, I'm having some people over on Saturday night. It's about 8 people, and this is what we're having for dinner. And I was thinking of serving this wine, and then what kind of cheese? I'm thinking a little bit about a nice piece of brie, but what do you think? And that is, I'm not exaggerating. This is a perfectly normal conversation that French men and women will have when they go to a market. That is so enjoyable. You need to do that. And it doesn't matter that you're out of your depth within the first 3 minutes of the conversation. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's you only buy ingredients within context.
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason. There is a grand plan.
Yes.
That's a wonderful tip. Thank you both. I think that's all the questions we've got time for tonight. So I just finished reading out a nice comment and some advice from one of our regular viewers, Zana. She says, I took both Bordeaux and Lyon cruises. Food was exceptional on both. I would suggest taking the pre and post tours of the Loire Valley and Dijon to visit the Burgundy wine areas as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So thank you both for your time. That's all of our questions for tonight.
Thank you very much, Heather. Thank you, Joost.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, Alex.